hello, good. Welcome to Mahala Monday. I don't know why Rhoda is laughing, but I can tell you what, it's going to be brilliant. My name's Dougal. Good evening, everybody. Great to be with you. Rhoda is here as always. How's it going?
It's good, Dougal. Can't complain. Happy to be here and happy to be here on a Monday again with all our guests.
Favorite day?
Definitely. And so happy to see you always on a Monday.
Good to be seen. But first things first, what we want you to do and would love you to do, and of course we really ask you to do this, is to really subscribe, like and share, hit the bell, do all those things you got to do so you don't miss any Mahala Monday episodes. And of course, because you know this is where it's at. It's an interactive show, so we look forward to your questions and your comments, and especially if you've got tricky questions for Rhoda, that's going to be extra fun. Don't ask me anything. Otherwise, how are you? You're good?
I'm good, Dougal. I'm good. I came here and I was like, okay, you know what? I need to dress nice and warm because it's quite cold today. So, but I'm prepared for the show. I'm prepared. I'm recovering a bit of a flu, so the throat is not 100% there yet, but I'm so much better. And you know, I'm just very, very envious of everybody else sitting there with a glass of wine watching us right now, which I would love to have done right now as well.
Anyway, so a lot happening, of course, as you know. Everybody feels a little bit more Olympic than they did last week. Yes, and we're talking world class. And because we're talking world class, guess what? That is exactly the path we're heading down tonight, because we are going to be joined by a very, very special guest. So when people talk artists, they talk Michelangelo, Salvatore Dali, Leonardo da Vinci, Alexander Nikita, all these wonderful names we always hear.
Exactly.
But tonight, Rhoda, we talk to somebody extraordinary. I think, because I've seen some of the work. I've seen, not in real life, I've seen photos of the work, and I have spoken to the artist for just 2 minutes, and I'm telling you, I'm in awe.
In awe. And you know what, Dougal, I actually class him with all that as well, with all that names. Because the day he has to leave his legacy, he will be one of those people. That's names is going to be listed up there, because that is our guest tonight.
So it is truly exciting to welcome to Mahala Monday, the one, the only Mr. John Adams is with us tonight. Hello, John. Thank you for joining us at Mahala Monday. How are you doing?
Greetings from Johannesburg, where the weather is just as chilly as Cape Town. How are you guys doing?
Lekker, man. Thank you so much for coming on. And it's just absolutely brilliant to have you here with us. Thank you for making the time, and we hope you're not going to freeze too much, as we're not hoping to freeze on this side. But listen, it's a real privilege having you on here tonight, because I know everybody is talking about, I mean, I've seen some of the stuff you did. We've seen some images of it, and it is just truly extraordinary. So let me just start off by saying, wonderful. What an inspiration. And I know there's a lot of people watching this who say now, you know what, I want to do this, or I've got a child who wants to do it. Well, this is definitely your opportunity. If you've got a question in relation to that, definitely pose it through to John.
So So John, our big question is, you know what, art at the end of the day is either you're born with it, or some people kind of get it along the way. But for you, how did this all start?
So, like most kids, it starts with a little pen in your hand or a pencil and any substrate on which to work. I know you guys in the printing field, so substrate is any surface, fabric. And I say fabric because there's been quite a few Tyrolean curtains that I have spoiled in my years. So I was at my dining room table and with my dad and mom after dinner, and I was just scribbling on the dining room table, and I kept connecting the dots, making circles and circles. And then my dad gave me some paper and I kept drawing, and then he drew a little face and I copied him. Oh, wow. And then he said, look, this guy's now not built for rugby, but Lord, at least he can be an artist. So from a tender age of 5, I started working in the genre of art. Specifically sketching back then, and at about 12 I started painting. Oh, wow. And it just spiraled out of control from there. My mom used to work for a huge bookshop called Juta.
Oh, yes.
So she always had textbooks in the car, and I used to take textbooks out and kind of copy some of Jan van Riebeck. I still don't know how he got his curls so beautiful in those books. It's amazing. It's incredible. They must have had GHDs back then already. So I've always been involved in kind of simulating other big people's artwork or or etchings and copying them until you get to a place where you can start designing your own and fabricating your own idea with your own set narrative.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You know what? I want to ask you this because you're touching on it now. In terms of, because all artists will say that, you kind of know you've arrived at the point of what you're passionate about is once you find your own voice. When did that happen for you?
I think that subject in itself, finding your own voice, is not really a final destination, but part of the journey. I think there's a teachability to who you are as an artist, which helps you be in a state of evolution. And I say evolution because you never really are at the center of what you finally want to become. It's all just little steps on this ladder of life.
Yeah.
So I think that the passion aspect is key to who we are as artists, to keep that passion there. But I mean, life happens and we change our focal point so many times as artists, and different things start attracting to your spirit as an artist. And therefore your art revolves around those subjects who are now nuances in your life that might not have been there before. But I think that you were right in saying that, that the passion aspect is what has got to undergird all of what we are.
You got to be passionate about it. So it started from a little age, a tender age, from like 5. You did sketches then, and do you have a favorite medium? Because eventually you started painting. You said like as a tween or a teenager, you started painting now. But do you have a favorite medium or favorite? Does it sketch, paint?
Well, I don't want to sound elitist, but there's no other paint medium for me than oil paint. It is my favorite because acrylic paint is basically based on a 1950s medium that was used for industrial purposes, like painting doors, and then they started painting pictures. But the pigment count in acrylic versus oils cannot be compared because one is a dye base and one is a pigment base. So the life and the luminescence, like those pictures you have behind you from oils, is just so much deeper and richer. And the undulations of the textural surfaces, the impasto, can be picked up so much more vibrantly. And that is why a lot of the classicists, from the Renaissance, Rococo, to the Fauves, right down to postmodernists, they used a lot of oil paints just because of the richness of the color. So I love oil painting. If I could paint it every day in one medium, it would be oil paints.
Oh, beautiful.
And there on the screen, of course, is some of John's work, which is just absolutely phenomenal.
Amazing.
But John, we're gonna go back to one of the slides one of the pictures we just saw a moment ago. But before we do that, there is a comment or two that we just want to touch on quickly, and I want to get them in early as well with those comments. So Mark Saul says happy Mahala Monday. So how's it, Mark? Wishing everybody a good one. Thank you very much. Renee says, hello, Mr. John Adams, amazing artist. So the compliments is flowing in, John. It is definitely flowing in. But I promise you, I'm looking at this. Let's talk about this, what's on screen right now, because what inspires you to do this? Because, I mean, I could look at this for like hours.
So as you can see there, its technique in itself, the muted tones are really deeply inspired by deeply traditional genre of art, specifically like the neoclassicists, where the tones are very muted. And I'm trying to create a very stoic stance in them, but there's still something regal about their faces. The sisters, you can see how proud they are and how determined they are to make it through life, even though it's not all rosy and it's not all sunflowers and rainbows. As you can see, their clothes are a bit tatty and torn. And that is some of the wrestle and duress that some of the women in Africa go through, and estuaries they have to traverse as women in Africa. But there's a strength inside of them. There's a glow that's emanating from their face, almost like celestial glow that's upon them, which is also echoing the sphere behind them. And this series is called Light, and Out of Light Comes Hope. It's part of the series that's going to Rome. It also speaks about the beauty and strength of African women. They often are the pivotal force and the binding gel in homes. I'm just paying tribute to a whole lot of aspects of Africa itself.
There's the one thing that you said, because I was actually going to say it. It does have the celestial glow, sort of. You can see it on the face, and then you said it. You literally took the words out of my mouth, because it's exactly what I was thinking, looking at it.
Yeah.
But it is extraordinary. And tell us about these two that we see on screen right now.
Yeah, so there's an innocence about youth. You can see the one in the pink there on the left hand side. That innocence is what I try to capture. Yet it's sometimes marred by the pressure that kids are under today to perform in a certain way, to be a certain persona. Yet I think as parents and as adults, we've got to protect our kids. And that is why I put it in a square format also. There's something more monumental about a square format. I tried to use as little color as possible in this, just to get to the essence of the emotion, instead of having color sidetrack us at times, so that we just get wrapped up in what this being is all about. You know, how essential of a role this person is playing, this little girl. Yeah, and the one on the right hand side is simply mothers who hold a candle in very dark places. You know, when there's absolute darkness in the home, it's nothing like a mum's soft, warm greeting, or that warm cup of coffee, or that lovely pot of stew that they've been cooking the whole day. That just brings light into a room. And I think women have that propensity to do it so naturally, and that's what us men can learn from, is the tenderness aspect of women. Yeah.
Just looking at that, and you explained it exactly the way I actually felt looking at that. It was just that warmth, the woman in the house, just that security of, you know what, I'm holding the candle, I'm holding the family together. That's what I immediately saw when I saw that. And just the colors at the end of the day were so vibrant, and just the yellow that stood out, like, you know, shining the light on everything else. And the outfit of hers, I like those colors as well, the blue and the yellow. I love blue. I'm a blue person. So whenever I see anything blue,
you blue.
I just love it.
But John, it is...
I don't know.
Yes, please.
If you look closely at her holding the candle, there's something that people don't notice. The wax is dripping onto her hand.
I saw that.
So there's pain that she's carrying, but she's still got a stoic face. She's still trying to keep her composure. And women, I swore I was not going to cry during this interview, but women have carried such a lot of pain unnecessarily, trying to hold up light in places that they shouldn't naturally have to, but they've been forced to do that. And they've carried that pain without flinching, you know. So kudos to all the ladies that have kept us going.
No, 100%. And you know, I must tell you this, because it is one thing to look at a painting and have your own interpretation. And I also when I look at the one on the right with the lady with the candle, from that emanates a lot of positivity. That is what I get from that. It's like a really uplifting sort of a vibe, feel of essence to it. But it is something completely different to look at something and actually hear the artist's interpretation of the work. And that really just gives it a whole different level of appreciation. So thank you for doing that. I want to jump back and just go a little bit back in time here, because I wanted to ask you this. I mean, obviously, we're in July. It is still Mandela Month. We had International Nelson Mandela Day just a couple of days ago. But our very first photo we saw, and I'm going to ask our producer just to jump back to that, because that is a Madiba painting that you've done there. Well, then there's two of them. Quickly talk to us about these, please.
So I was invited to the inaugural Cape Wine Auctions event down in Cape Town. And I was a surprise act. And when I arrived there, I have never seen such wealth and opulence in my life. There was like rows of Maserati and a rows of Ferrari. And the only thing going through my head is, yesterday I charged too little for this event. Anyway. And so I get on stage, and one person actually asked me, "Hi, are you security?" I said, "No, I'm actually part of the show, man." So I get on stage and everybody's so confused and I'm painting then and suddenly the people start whistling and cheering and some people might have seen what I was doing and I flipped this thing around and they all went crazy and I did a portrait of Mandela for this event. And then they put it on auction and I was standing up next to it and they go like 50,000. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm saying, well, they maybe get about 80,000. That'd be nice for this. Next amount is 100,000.
Wow.
150,000, 200, 300, 354. And at 350, I said to the guy, can I please get a glass of wine, please? But my nerves is no clock. So 350, then it got to 400, 450, and it went to 464,000 rand for the painting.
Wow.
And it's one of the most expensive performance pieces done live in South Africa, and a beautiful company by the name of Afri-Asia Bank in Mauritius bought it, and that money went towards a charity run by Mike Ratcliffe down in the Cape that helps kids with hearing issues, hearing disabilities. And why that's pivotal to me is because I didn't know all these things, but there's this amazing synergy in the spirit, because I'm deaf in my left ear completely.
Oh, wow.
And here I am raising 464,000 in 7 minutes for kids who are struggling with the same thing that I'm going through. It was just a beautiful moment.
They're extraordinary. And obviously when we talk about performance painting, this is where you're doing something live on a stage and it's happening in front of you in a set amount of time. And that is the picture to the right that we have there.
Yep.
That is a painting. Wow, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that was the one. Yes.
Before we go to another comment or two, there's you were busy there as well, just on the left of that one, also closest to Rhoda now to the viewers, also doing something with Madiba.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so that is one of the largest paintings of Mandela on canvas. It is 3.8 meters by 6 meters wide.
Wow.
And I just did it out of my own to hallmark who he is and who he was as a person. And why is pivotal to me and the whole mothers and fathers of democracy is because I went to a Model C school and there wasn't special art. And I wasn't allowed to go to the other schools because I was a bit too long in the sun. So for those reasons aforementioned. So I applied to schools and I couldn't get in. But at the dawn of democracy, I was one of the first kids to go to a very special school called the National School of Art, Ballet, Music and Drama. And my life pivoted completely because of that opportunity that I was allowed to go to the special school for art. So I pay tribute to democracy and Mandela for helping with this, for helping us bridge this vast wall. Like people talk about the Great Wall of China, man, we had a wall even worse than that called apartheid. And I'm forever grateful for us having our democracy. And I was just paying tribute to him. And I thought, what is the largest? And that was the size of my driveway, 6 meters. So I bolted this scaffold and a space frame, and I got canvases and I screwed them to the scaffold. And my father's there at night. And the neighbors are driving past saying, "Oh, Here, yes, is help vir die mense." Wat maak hulle? Hulle bou weer squatters hier langs aan ons. And then I painted that on the side, yeah.
And how long did it take you to complete that?
It took me a while, roughly about 2 weeks,
Sure. Yeah.
to do that. And it was a wonderful journey because a photographer from the Associated Press from Kenya, it was an Englishman actually, he drove past on the highway and you could see my house from the highway. And he made a U-turn at the off-ramp and he came all the way back and he said, "Hey, can I photograph you?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, man, take a photo." And because of that specific photograph is in the AP.com website. It's been on BBC, Fox, CNN.
Wow.
Beyonce used that for the tribute to Mandela when he passed away. So we managed to talk about the beauty of this country through that painting also quite a bit.
Wow, that is extraordinary, and it just shows the reach of art. Do you know what I mean? It speaks, and it speaks for eons. It will, and also it does the whole generational thing across all sort of lines, whatever we may think divides us as humanity. It just it truly does that. John, we want to talk more about it because we know you're involved with various trusts. You do amazing work, and of course you travel the globe with all your art as well. We're going to get stuck in there as well. And also what inspires you, that is what I want to get to. But also we got some comments coming in quickly, so we just want to touch base with those as well.
Jabbar.
Jabbar is greeting us. Hello, Jabbar.
Hey there,
Hope you're
Jabbar.
all right, sir. And well, Mark Saul says, John's passion for art definitely comes through with the way he speaks about it. Would he be keen to share some of his inspirations or insights or his muses? Will he tell us who it is? We definitely got to ask him that, Mark Saul. That is definitely my next question to him. We definitely got to get that. And let's start off there. What inspires you? What do you have a muse?
So I've been sketching so long that I can kind of organically construct a face. So when you get to be so literate in the anatomy of a face, you almost know what muscles pull what. What is the shape of a head? What does a younger forehead look like versus an older forehead? How does a slant in the eyes go? When you turn a face, where does the light shine on? So you can have a very generic face and then change it by adding accents to jawline and cheek line to construct a certain emotion. But it's not the muse that is pivotal. What's really pivotal is what emotion do you get out of the muse? Because some people draw something so accurately that it's cold. So I believe it's more important to have emotion in the muse more than just hyper-technical, naturalistic images. So I add little decorations on, like, because the woman on the left there has a helmet, and that's the war she's been through, but there's love in the war that she's gone into. She's come out of it not having any regrets or being hurt by that. She still has a message of love. So I just add on these little details, add on little trinkets. She still has her poised hairstyle, you know, there's the dignity and pose and poise about her. And sometimes I'll find an image online that I like the one on the right. I just love the emotion in the face, and I just changed the setting of my palette there completely. I used a very thick paint called impasto, which is an Italian word which means to plaster. So I plastered on this paint to kind of construct the surface area in a different way to invite viewers to want to touch the art. It's called visual tension, when there's a different surface finish that attracts your eye to a certain focal point.
So it almost looks sort of textured in a way, if I could describe it that way.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So, look at this. Oh, John, you got to tell us about this.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I think the realist we are at times is when our subconscious is more active than our conscious. And I believe in dreams, I believe in visions, and I also believe in finding a place of rest within oneself. And this is the same kind of face that just pivoted in a different way, that I aged slightly in different angles. So no matter what era of life you're going through, what age you are, there's always a sobriety that comes out of you being in a place of rest. You find the center of who you are. You find your stillness. You find your inner true voice. You find your passion when you are at rest. And it doesn't mean that you're sleeping on the highway on the M5 coming from Muizenberg. I'm not talking about that rest. I'm talking about sitting quietly with yourself and just pondering how blessed you truly are. Counting the experiences you've gone through in life, and holding those things precious, holding the people that have impacted your life so wonderfully, taking those moments into account and bearing witness and reflecting upon it as with all sobriety, and how those things have faceted and changed your life. And the soberness of this moment called rest.
Wow.
As I get older, I know I look 21, but I'm almost 50. I find I have to rest a whole lot more, because life is throwing a lot of options at you, a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
And without rest, you cannot navigate these deep waters. So,
So
I'm not finished with that one
So
yet.
this work
Oh,
is
you're not done with that
so this
one yet.
piece is called Rest.
Yeah.
Do you know when
Beautiful.
listening to you and hearing what you had to say about it, I looked at it like I initially thought it was three different individuals, but you say it's the same face, obviously at different stages of their life, and that and
Yeah,
the one right at the back, which I will call the first one, does look
yeah,
like like there's a bit of a sense of determination, but that second one is more content, like I've
Content,
arrived,
yeah.
I'm happy, and that third
yeah,
one is reflecting back, like like more
yeah,
appreciative. I think would be
yeah.
apt description.
Description.
But I tell you something. When the artist explains it, you all of a sudden you see stuff you never even thought of.
Exactly,
I've got to be
exactly.
honest with you. I really got. You should
Thanks.
have been there when I did my little stick man. But anyway,
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
that's a conversation for a different day. So John, obviously, the Edward Garvey Trust. You very involved with them as well.
Yeah. Yes. They're a trust that is focused on the AIDS pandemic in Africa, helping people in Zimbabwe, and they have different branches throughout the world right now. And we're having a show in Rome on the 29th of November, where these pieces that you've been looking at will be on exhibition.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to be raising funds for a few different buildings that need to be built and equipment that needs to be bought, specific people who need care. But it's also to highlight the strength and fortitude of women, mums who carry such weight-bearing stresses. It's also a celebration of Africa, because we sometimes we get into a woe is me mindset. No, we've actually conquered a lot and we have achieved a lot. So it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
celebration of that too. So I'm looking forward to that show. I've been working on it for the last 6 months.
Oh, wow.
I've shut off a lot of the world. I've changed a lot of my style. A lot of the depth in which I approach my art right now has changed. I'm much quieter, much forgiving on myself, much more forgiving on myself. I was hypercritical. So this whole process has really helped me to grow, a whole lot of, I'll say many more dimensions.
So John,
Um,
yeah. Sorry, I've
yeah,
met you, and I'm just listening to you now exactly what you're saying. And I met you a few years ago. I mean, we've come way back. And I remember that very first art I saw of yours was very abstract. It was very busy, active. And I'm looking at your art now, and I can actually see that happening with you. Seeing where you are today, I can just see that maturity. The John Adams, it wasn't that young John Adams I met at one of the events. I saw you for the first time sitting there very quietly, like you said. Everybody's like, who's this dude sitting here? I can actually see that, and I can see that progression, and I can see the what's coming out of your pictures. I can really see you've matured onto another level, and that's why I put you up there with the Van Goghs and all of those gentlemen, because that's exactly how I see you. Well done.
thanks so much. I've had to also realize that, there is something like legacy that everybody has to consider, and we doesn't matter who you are, you will be leaving a legacy. The question is, what is the tensile strength of your legacy? If it is tested, will it crack under pressure? What are you formulating in the minds of others as children, as a society? And that's what it's really close to my heart. I mean, the days are coming to an end for a lot of us, but we look forward to whatever tomorrow holds. But there's a serious amount of growth that I still want to achieve, because I am a teacher too, and I want to teach my students to be the best version of them. Teachability is essential. It doesn't matter what age you are. So that's what I look forward to every day.
Excellent, excellent.
That's absolutely brilliant. Listen, and the work just looks absolutely amazing. So soon you'll be off to Rome then. So how far into the future is that, John?
I'll arrive in Rome on the 20th of November. The show is on the 29th.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right. And you'll be there. What are you currently working on right now?
Right now, I am working on a commission for one of the embassies in Rome, the Algerian Algerian ambassador.
Oh, wow.
I'm doing a commission for him. The South African embassy is also hosting one of my 2.8-meter Mandela
Ooh.
paintings, so they're going to be hanging that up in the embassy too. So I've got a lot of packing to do, and
I'm just gonna say now.
I have to freight everything across. So it's going to be a lot of work to do
Oh,
to get all
wow.
my logistics in order.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I can just imagine.
Listen,
Oh.
John, I want to know what you will say to young and aspiring artists, but before we do that, let's touch base with a comment or two. And I'm loving the comments that is coming in. Thank you so much. Hubert Paul, sir, we were wondering where you were. You were a bit mute. Hubert says, how does your own art speak to you? What a question.
Oh, what a
Hubert comes in
question.
hard and fast. How does your own art speak to you, John?
Well, the mirror of life is the most sobering mirror to look at. And when I look at my paintings, it's like I have to look at myself. There's a lot of celebration that takes place when I look at my art. I do celebrate a lot because I'm not myself. I stand on the soldiers of so many mighty artists, mighty men and women. You know, I'm standing there the whole time. I'm often more humble looking at my art now because I know that what I've achieved, I would not have done it without other people. So it does humble me, but there's also a critical spirit that does come across me at times where I do see imperfections, and I don't see it in a bad way. I don't see it as faults. I just see them as imperfections that need addressing. And therefore, I go out and keep reading and keep learning and keep asking questions. So it is very critical to me as a person to find coherencia in your art. And coherencia simply means a safe place. So art has become my safe place. It's actually the word given to a bull that's in the ring, that's in his corner. It's his safe place. And coherencia is also where your home is, where you find solitude. So that is what I do find within my art right now too. With that, I have to juxtapose to another point where I also have to be critical in, did I do enough to motivate others to look at the art? Is there a hook in the art? Is it going to last for eons ahead? So I ask myself quite a few questions, and I also get a lot of input into the artwork themselves.
Does that matter, John? Does that matter? Because when somebody, when they wear their art on their sleeves and, you know, and the passion speaks for itself, does that matter to the artist as a form of validation or as a form of inspiration to keep going? Does that matter?
I think it does matter because the ownership is on me. If my objective is to motivate people as a subject, right? And I'm not motivating people, then I have not fulfilled my task. So if my subject is to quintessentially describe the beauty of women, and I'm not doing that correctly, then I've missed the task. So that is how I navigate things. I put a set subject ahead of me, and I work around that subject, and I do as much research and introspection into that subject so that I can do that subject proud and elevate that audience or that crowd that I might be using as a muse for that situation. But in that light, I'd say so, yes.
Definitely. I just wanted to go back quickly before we end off the show, and Dougal's going to ask you the very important last question, which I know. I just wanted to go back because just listening to you, for Mandela Day, I believe you had an auction for the Teddy Bear Foundation and Sunlight Safe House.
Yeah.
So the nature, what was important to you? Why were you important? These two charities important to you?
Well, that I'd done it a few years back, and the commonality is children. And when you have children, I don't think you're the same person ever again. You know, there's such a growth spurt that happens in an adult and then in a parent. they're not the same being any longer in my view.
Mm.
And I realized that some charities are dealing with children who don't have parents, and that notion itself, I had to sit down quietly and literally address, like, this being came through two people, but now it's alone and there's nobody looking after them.
Oh, wow.
How can I possibly assist? Like, who tucks a little girl in at night? Who takes a little boy for haircuts? You know, all these little things were running through my mind. And I said, well, wherever I can assist, I'd love to get involved, because these people are doing a great job in themselves. But I want to pull a bit of that weight with myself in view of making artwork. And that is really why I get involved with charities, because I can see the pivotal role art is used to not only highlight what the charity is about, but also to bring in income for the charities.
Oh, beautiful. Oh.
A lot of people are looking at all of this as a huge inspiration, John. And Lester Green says, straight from the Cedarburg, is saying, hello, Lester. Hubert, thanks for that, Lester. Hubert says, how do you define success as an artist, and has your style changed over time?
Yes, my style has changed over time. Just like Picasso went from the blue to rose period to cubism, so I have gone through painting on terraline to painting onto canvas to painting on the sides of the building. My style has definitely changed, and I think your style does change because you as a person changes also. And I think a successful artist is an artist who is true to themselves. I do not believe that monetarily that we should just espouse value to that. I think success is really gauged in what is the essence of yourself revealed onto your canvas. I deem that to be successful.
Beautiful.
And that is true art, because it means those two arts are the same. Exactly that.
Yeah.
I wanna ask you two questions, really, and I'm gonna try and make it one question, because you know you've given us graciously enough of your time. So I want to ask you advice to aspiring artists, people who look at you and go, you know what, I want to walk this path. I feel inspired by John's story and his journey, and I can also add my value as far as the artists go. And I want to ask you as well, the second part would be, what piece is there that stands out for you over this length of time that you've been doing this? Is there something that just gets you all excited and gets the juices flowing in the morning when you think about it?
Are you talking about my piece?
Yeah.
My favorite?
Piece. Yeah.
Okay.
That you've done.
So I have never really...
I know it's a difficult question, John. It's like choosing a favorite child.
I have never really thought about it in that light. And how I'm gauging it is the impact of the piece. And my large Mandela, I think, is by far the funnest time I've had, both technically and as far as scale is concerned. It's the largest painting I've ever done. I enjoyed the journey with my father and I, painting that together. A few years after that, he passed away. But I also enjoyed the fact that I didn't have a hidden agenda. I wasn't looking for fame and accreditation and validation. It was just like a raw, guttural, get that paint on there, slap it on. You got 6 meters, have a ball. Mandela was a fun guy. By the way, the story with the Africa in his hand, they asked Mandela, hey, Tata, can you just make some handprints? I know you're going to be clocking out soon. We just want all of you, you know. So even take your handprints. So they have this guy standing with the ink pad and his white paper, and he's like, okay, grasa, okay. So if they put his hand down on the ink pad, and they put his hand on a piece of white paper. And as they lift his hand up, you can Google this image. There's a map of Africa in the middle of the print.
Oh, wow.
Boom.
Wow. Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
And that is why that picture with the hand is so beautiful to me, is because a man whose heart was so for Africa, unquestionable, his handprint demonstrated what was in his heart. And that is why I put that Africa inside there, and joy coming out of that. But another aspect about this painting is it helped me to highlight to others the the open doors that can naturally come when you just pursue your passion.
Yeah.
So I was in probably 30 different magazines globally, from India to America, all of Europe, just because of this one moment.
Oh, wow.
But I think if my motives were wrong, the blessing would not have been there.
So true.
And that that really silenced me. I stood there one night crying in the driveway in my house in Boston, and I said, Lord, this is just because of you. You just inspired me to do it, and look where we are now. The press coming along and taking photos of me, and it was a moment in history for me, but it was a very pivotal moment for me too, because it really silenced a lot of hot air that was going around. Like, you must have the best Instagram account and you must have the best Facebook account. And what is your branding like? I'm like, yeah, those things are important. But how honest, how transparent, how passionate are you about what you're doing? If you didn't have all these other frills, would it still be passion and raw zeal and guttural emotion that people deduce from your artwork when they look at it?
Oh, wow.
So I get challenged every time when I do a painting, and I'm talking too much. Sorry about that.
The passion
Listen, whatever you said, that any aspiring artist can use that
They
right
can
there.
use that right
They
there.
can use that right there. Because and very simple.
wow.
My 2 cents of what you just said, cream top. That's, you know what I mean. That's as simple as that. It does rise. I believe nothing is ever wasted. I mean, you've spent a life journey. Really a lifetime since the age of 5, as you said earlier, you know, and going through your teenage years, going through school, being exposed to different artists, and just really working at the craft. And really, and the thing is, it's an art, so you yourself will never perfect it, like you said yourself earlier. You know, you can just constantly try and be and aspire to be the best version of yourself, and to make that pop off canvas or whichever material you're using. That truly speaks. Amazing stuff. Yeah, amazing stuff. We've got a comment or two, John,
from the
which
USA.
From the States, the USA, which we just wanna get in quickly as well. Renee Stoffels, thank you again, who says, what is next for you?
For me?
Yeah, what is next?
So my goal is to have my book out next year. That is something I've been working on. I'd really like to do a book telling a bit of my story. I'd love to have another show next year in Italy. That's one of my goals, and hopefully Australia too. And then my next solo show will be next year too, around about October, which is my birthday. Hint, hint. 1st of October.
When in October?
It was the 1st of October.
First.
Oh, first. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's my goal for next year. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Lovely.
No. Excellent. There you go, Renee. So there's some answer. John, all I can say is thank you.
Thank you.
You know what? This is such a insightful and inspiring conversation, and I must say, I speak on behalf of Rhoda as well. Rhoda won't mind me saying this, but no, we just got to have you back. We need to talk longer. We definitely need to talk longer because we definitely need to speak to you. I actually love to hear what that is all about, and of course, all the things you work. Because I know of like everybody's going to be talking like, listen, we want to be like John, and for us it was just such a privilege talking to you. Really, it has been. It has been. Thank you so much for your time, mate.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate your time. I love you guys' family. I love the fact that you're building community. You're building a structure on a firm foundation. I just want to honor you guys for doing what you did tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks, John. Listen, we wish you the best, safe journey, enjoy Rome, all of that, and we look forward to your one-man shows. We wish you all the best, sir, and long may it continue. And thank you for doing what you are doing and setting such an exemplary example, which is truly outstanding. Thank you for being that light bearer of hope.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. John Adams, everybody, right here on Mahala Monday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So earlier we were saying like the masters, the legends. Well, I'm sorry. I take back all those big names from earlier, and now I just go John Adams.
There we go. But what did I tell you? That's him. He's up there, definitely up there. Well done, John.
But you know what is really fantastic, Rhoda, and this is the thing when you talk to artists.
Yeah.
The passion exceeds everything else.
Oh, jeez.
And there's bucket loads. I mean, but truckloads, whatever is bigger than that, you know, like it's huge, it's huge. And that comes through. And once again, and John goes through where he pays respect to how democracy dawned upon us, and he wanted to capture that moment. And then he talks about how his life has changed, how he has changed, how he wants to bring the emotion out, because that's how we feel.
Yeah.
And then you see, and then one work of his that is called Rest, you can see, you can see the contentment, you can see the hope, you can see all of that.
Yeah.
You can see these emotions, and he talks about it, and that is important. And that's obviously things that he feels, but we as a society, when we look at it, we will feel.
Exactly.
And that is extraordinary.
It's extraordinary. And his painting talks to you. I mean, I'm stuck with a lady with a candle with a wax running over.
Yeah.
I mean, even John saying, you know what, he doesn't want to cry. He had me so close to tears. And you know what, that's the passion that comes through. There's that painting. That's a passion that's basically showing at the end of the day. And this is where, for me, John is an exceptional artist. And he is just above everything else for me. So I mean,
and not for me to get on my soapbox again, like I normally do, but you know, we're very quick this side of sub-Saharan Africa. And more importantly, the country that's below Namibia, Zimbabwe, and Botswana. You know who you are with the green ID book. You know who you are. Not to get on my soapbox again, but we're so quick to celebrate everything that is outside our borders.
Yeah.
We are so quick. Meanwhile, a product from our borders, John Adams, gets celebrated with magazines across the globe, as he has said.
Exactly.
Major news channels, all of that. And that is what we got to do. And we got to latch on to these inspirational stories, which is truly outstanding. This is a beacon of hope. Yeah, and we're riddled with likewise people as a huge talent, but more importantly, these flag bearers of hope, light carriers, and these people who just provide us with extraordinary inspiration. So John Adams, we wish you well, and thank you so much for your time. It's really, and what a fascinating conversation.
We need to tell the director that we want him back.
No, definitely. I'm telling you now, we didn't talk. We barely
touched the.
We had welcome drinks here. We haven't even had starters with this man. Do you know what I mean? We haven't even sat down. But so many questions. And nosy, but now I must
and you
go
feel like
now.
it's just been dropped.
Yeah, it's like, No, actually, it's not my fault. It's Rhoda's fault. This is the way the clock works. But listen, thank you very much for the comments that came through. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much, everybody, for that. It is truly, truly appreciated. Please do us the favor, and of course, we all believe it's something that we must do. Continue to spread hope, continue to spread light, and all the good things that we need to do. And from our side, we will ask you to please subscribe. Please do that for us.
And share these videos, guys. Get it out there. This is how we celebrate our people. So, you know, the more we send it out there, the more we hear about our good stories in South Africa as well.
We've got a little bit over our time. We do apologize for that. All Rhoda's fault. But as usual, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for the comments. Thank you to our very special guest, John Adams, who joined us this evening. And thank you for being part of this. Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves and everybody around you. Bye-bye.